All right, so everybody who's here right now, what you can do is you can take, hopefully your cup already has water in it. If not, you can fill it up now. And you want to take a large brush or whatever size brush is available to you. I happen to have a really large one. I don't think it's gonna even fit in my cup. But spread some water around your canvas. So
Oh.
I actually haven't used this brush before. Probably be nice. So just take some regular water, spread it around. He said this is good. Would you guys rather draw onto the canvas first and then paint, or just paint along with me and basically eyeball some of it?
I like to do it around with you.
All right, that works. Okay, amazing. And then once you've done that, you're gonna take your palette. So mine is really dirty. It's fine. It's all dry. But we're gonna take some colors. So if you're making your own colors, I can help you. You just let me know. And I have also, if everyone wants a picture in front of them, they can have it if it helps. So this is the picture. I drew this yesterday. And then I just changed some of the colors and fixed some of the clouds, whatever. But this is essentially the idea, the splitting of the sea. Obviously, it's not correct, but it's an artistic rendering is what we're going to be doing. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, basing it on my own drawing. So the main colors we're going to be using for the background are red. This red is, I think it's called Rouge, and it's a primary red. Rouge just means red, I think. So.
Rouge is red in French.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, Seema. I'm like, Seema would know. Okay, so exactly. So this is a primary red that we're using. And I have the company Basics. I like their stuff because it's inexpensive and it's really good. Also, I have a primary blue. So I thought that those would be nice colors. Those are just sort of what ended up looking like what I drew. So we're going to be mixing them together to make this middle color, which the purple. So take some blue. You can do, unless you're really scared, do a big glob. I'm going to show you the sizes because we're probably going to need to end up adding more because it depends what size canvas that you have. So I'm going to do some squirts and I might have to put more. It's sometimes good to just not exactly waste it, but put more than you need because then you won't need to make more of the color. Sometimes it won't be exactly the same if you do. So I'm going to put a larger amount and then I'll show you what it looks like. And then we don't need to mix it while it's on here actually if you don't want to. You can mix it while it's on the canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably use the same brush that I was using just to spread it around because it's big enough that it's fitting inside my cup and also it's large enough that it's not too big and it's going to be nice enough to spread around. If you have too small of a brush and you're doing the background, it's going to take you a very long time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you like to take your time and you're very precise and you're going to make it look perfect, but I mean, for me especially, and make sure to use water if you want it to spread. Don't be afraid of the water. I'm pretty messy when I paint. Like, oil paint is the messiest stuff in the world. But let's see if this, need to mix it better. Shouldn't be this watery. It'll be fine soon. If you want some crisp edges, then try to just go around nicely, and then you could be a little messy in the middle. But if you want, you could actually tape the sides of your canvas if you're afraid that it's going to be too messy and you don't want it to look that way. Some people frame their canvases, and so they don't really care how it looks.
I think it looks great.
Oh, hi, Dana.
Hi, everyone. It looks so pretty.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I know you're so busy. Thank you all for joining because I know everyone has busy lives, but also I feel like we just need a break. I don't know. And for some of the people who are just stuck at home, art is great. Art is so relaxing and therapeutic. I mean, in my opinion, some people think art is so stressful. All right, so I'm going to go more into that later, but then I'm going to go into the bottom, which is going to be the blue. So, actually, I have these.
So what's the percent? What do you color in red? Like a third?
So, that's a really good question. I would say you can go halfway if you'd like, because this middle, it's like upper middle portion is going to be the purpley, which is going to be the mixture. So if you want to even go in and see how that's going to look, it's going to need a lot more red than blue. But I would go in this way. Try to keep it. Oh, I need to put more water. If you're screaming, it's not because anything bad is, God forbid, happening in my house. They're playing a family game, so it probably just got overly competitive. Or they got really excited. And just, you could take your time and just do the brush strokes. It's relaxing to just watch the paint move around the canvas. And try to do horizontal brush strokes because it will show on the picture. And if you look at the way that the composition of the image, it's mostly horizontal stripes, not vertical. So you can try to do some vertical stripes if you'd like, but maybe try to fix it out in the end because you might see that it looks a little bit wonky. It could be that it looks super cool. I have no idea. And I mean, do your own artistic take. Don't be afraid of it. Go crazy if you want. I need to be careful though, because sometimes I go a little bit too crazy. And I think I may add a little bit of white into this purple. I could add a lot more of the red. I'm actually going to see how that works first. But if I see that it isn't coming as purple as I'd like it to, I might add a little bit of white and maybe pink, but I don't really know yet. Maybe this might turn out to be a nice purple. I don't know. I'm eyeballing it. That's mostly what I do. And some people do this, they'll just squirt it. Wait. You close it before I shake it, because sometimes it'll explode. Okay. You can pour it right onto your canvas. Some people paint that way. And that is a way. I don't usually do it. I think for the purple, because I made this purple like a really bright pinky purple, I'm going to mix the red with like this blue-green maybe? Maybe we should just use pink? No. No shortcuts. So this one is a bright aqua green, and I'm going to see how it looks. Making colors is a lot of the fun, so even if you just have red, red, blue, and yellow, you can make some really nice colors, in my opinion. I'm gonna see how this is gonna look. This might turn out super weird. If you get some water markage, because I flick water everywhere, so I don't know if some of you may do that, then you can just paint over it. It's about layering. And it doesn't need to be perfect. You can end up fixing it later, but the background is what we need to start with, so. I think I could definitely make this purple brighter. Totally up to you. I may just not, but just because I don't want to take too long on each step. But you can go as light or as dark as you like. Make it as much space as you like between the colors. I have my little Bob Ross. Someone got it for me as a present. Alright. So I'm going to go in more with the red later. Actually, I'm going to use a larger brush. If it doesn't fit. Okay, then I'm going to finish up the background, and we can move on. Hopefully you guys are done, but you guys don't need to rush at all. I can't see what your canvases look like, but I'm sure they look really nice. What we're creating now is a gradient.
So what color are you using now?
Okay, so I just started using a larger brush, and then I created, and then now I'm finished. I may go into it more because, can you just wash this off for me, actually?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
we don't have a helper here.
What?
I don't have somebody like your sister to help me brush the brush.
All right, so now we're gonna let it dry just for a minute. It doesn't need to be too long because acrylic paint dries really quickly. Thanks so much, please. Which is why we're using it. If you use oil paints, it takes a couple days for it to be mostly dry. I don't want to say completely dry because some of the time you're using a lot more oil because you have to add in oil, like a linseed oil or something, just to paint it on. It's so strong, it's not going to spread. So to spread it, you need to add extra oil, and for the oil to dry takes forever. This is going to dry for maybe another minute or so. And okay, the colors we're going to use next, if we choose to do the mountains, then the mountains will be next. So let me think. Actually, maybe now is a good time. So what we're going to do now, really quickly, while it's actually wet, is we're going to do, on the sides, I have some extra water that's there on the side of the sea splitting, right? So while it's wet, I want to use the blue that we have at the bottom and put in some lighter blues. If you don't have a lighter blue, I have, like I showed you before, I have this bright aqua green. I have this, oh my gosh, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, cerulean blue hue. And I have this turquoise. This is turquoise. This is a different company. This is Artist Loft, which is also good and inexpensive, so that's nice. If you don't have your own light blue, it's so easy. Use the blue that you used at the bottom and just add some white. So I can show it both ways. Since I already have some blue on my palette, I'm going to take some of my basics titanium white. Titanium white is the best when it comes, in my opinion, also when it comes to oil. So I added just a little bit of white, and you can start adding more and more white. Put a little bit of white in first, and gradually add in more, because if you add in too much, it's going to be more difficult to make it dark again unless you keep on adding blue paint. So here, let me I'm going to use a brush that's this big,
Yeah.
an inch. And I'm going to make sure to dip it into the water. If your water's a little too blue, then you can definitely go switch out your water. Because then the blue might come into other colors if they're too light. But basically this is the color blue that I have. It's really, really, really light because I didn't have a lot of dark blue on it. Like the regular blue, I guess. And I'm just going to go on the sides and go like this. If you want to do it throughout the bottom, then you definitely can. This is just going to be what's on the side. And most of it's not really going to be seen at all of the water. But we want to make sure that there's a distinction between the water and the sky. You just have fun with it. It doesn't need to look perfect. I mean, obviously not. But it's going to look beautiful, however it turns out. So try to make it as straight a line as possible. If you want, you can make it a little bit off, a little bit wonky, which would be, you can make it from a different perspective. You do however you want, and just enjoy yourself. So I'm just going in there, and it's sort of looking streaky. I think that's like sort of the term I want to use. So it should be like there's a little bit of a lighter blue, a little bit of darker blue. I don't know if you could really see now, so I'm gonna try to move the camera closer to my laptop. Just so that you can see. Oh wow, now I'm in the light.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a little bit of that streakiness. There's a lighter, darker. All right, so once you have that little bit of streakiness, it should be starting to get dry. If you want to dry it off even more, if you have a fan or your hand or a plate, I have this little palette. You just go. And it's already. This part is going to be a little wet. Still a little wet. I wouldn't recommend sticking your finger right on it and pressing it to see if it's dry or not, because if it's wet, you're going to have a cute little fingerprint in the middle. I mean, unless you really want that, if you want your style to be like fingerprinty, then go for fingerprints. You don't need to copy me exactly. I want everyone to just have their own style. And please, I would love if you sent me pictures after we're finished with this, because I want to see how everyone's turned out. All right. So this is drying up. I think I want to do the mountains because I'm afraid it's going to look too plain if we don't. Sometimes.
Yeah, I think we should do it also.
Yeah. I mean, I added it for a reason, so, I mean, why not? Anyway, I'm going to take this black. This is a Mars black. I'm sure you could use any black. But this is just the one I have. I mostly paint with oils, so I don't really know what exactly I had, but recently I just bought a few more paints. Acrylic paints, because I didn't even know if I had any at all. I might need to find more black in my tub of paints. I hope everyone's enjoying this and my talking isn't too much.
No, that's good.
Thank you. All right. So, make sure your brush is not too wet. Oh my gosh, this brush is really wet. I'm actually going to use, if you use a smaller brush, it will dry quicker. So that's weird. I don't know. Maybe that's not a real thing. Maybe I just made that up. Anyway, I'm going to need to change my water. It's really blue. It's pretty though. What we're going to do is we're going to take that black and right on top of the line, or you can make your own line, I guess, from the water, we're going to go across. And then we're going to do the mountains. So mountains could go however you'd like them to. How I usually do mountains is sort of like this up and down type of, ooh, do not. If a little thing of water goes down your canvas, it's going to show. Okay. So you're going to be able to fix it later, like I said. And people who say that they can't paint or they've messed up, it's not really, I mean, it's possible to mess up, but it's not impossible to fix it. So sort of mixing in with some of the purple that hasn't really set yet. But just go. I'm definitely gonna fix this later, because I like when the mountains look more rigidy. But the purple is still a little wet, so I'm just making a general shape. Then I'm gonna fix it. And then maybe in a minute we're definitely gonna go back to it in a minute actually, because I want it to look really, really black, really silhouetted, and not grayish or purpley. I hope it's going well for everybody so far. All right. Oh, so this one's really good. The consistency is really nice. It's not too liquidy. It's really good. This one, it doesn't even need water, I don't think, especially with how wet this is underneath. Ah, yeah. That's how we like it. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm probably not going to go into as much detail as I usually would, but if I start taking too long, then be like, yo, Mariah, we're ready for the next step, because I might still be working on this. And it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's not perfect. Thank you, Zoom. All right. And some of your mountains are going to be covered up, so don't worry too much about it. Then, like I said before, I'm also doing more horizontal type of brush strokes. So some of them I'm going, obviously, making movements, wave movements, but otherwise, horizontal brush strokes, all right? So I think I'm going to stop here for myself. Okay, make sure to wash off your brushes really well, or else, especially if you don't have enough. I happen to have this huge tub of brushes, but then I'll only use certain ones. So I'm probably going to have to use a different one just because I don't know if I'm going to have time to really wash my brushes. But if you're using the same brushes over and over, try to wash your brushes as well as possible. And this water is like this murky. It's a pretty blue. I don't know. I'm trying to see if you can see in the light. But it's still very, very blue. So probably just going to dump it really quick. We're going to move on to the land. So that's this brown part right here. Okay. So if you do not already have a brown,
no,
then you can make one. So making brown is basically just a mix of a lot of colors. So if you who said someone has said they don't have brown, right? So if you don't
I don't have brown.
Okay. So you can take, I'm trying to think of specifically which colors you could use. I would mix in, what colors do you have?
I have red, blue, white, purple, green, yellow, orange, and black.
Okay. So orange, black, blue, red, green. Maybe adding green last and see how it's looking.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's a certain formula that I don't know about, but I usually just mix a bunch of random colors. And if you want, you can send a picture in to the chat, and then I can check in and see what you should be adding. If you do have brown, the brown that I have is a burnt umber in basics. And and then I would add, the way that I drew this, I did a light brown. I want to keep it as close to my digital drawing as possible, just because I really like it. So I added some of the white, the titanium white that I used before, with the brown. Wet your brush, not too wet, but just a little. And the brush that I'm using now, this is about 1 inch, And it's really long and skinny. I don't know if I really like it, but I think it's a newish brush. So I can show you. So my brown sort of looks, it's like an icky brown, you know. So I don't know if you can see the color. Oh, you know what? I don't even have my main light on this whole time. Okay, so oh my gosh, that's so much better. I'm so sorry, everyone. I didn't even realize. Okay, so this is like an icky, muddy brown. When Israel walked in the sea, which was actually split into 12 tunnels, I believe the ground was dried for them. But we're going to do this icky, muddy brown. It's not too muddy. It's okay. Okay, then we're going to start here. Okay. I know I want to end here, so maybe let's do this. Start from here and then move up. If you get some of your blue mixed in, don't even worry. The blue is going to dry up. This blue is actually pretty dry already. And then especially once it's dry, the color will be shown more, like this brownish color. I want to have this base because we're going to add the little people. Hope everyone's doing well. We all have different paces that we need, especially when it comes to art. And if someone doesn't feel like they're well versed in art, then they might take a little bit of longer time, which is not a big deal at all. Okay, then for this 1 point perspective type of deal, we're gonna just go like that. I did this really quick sketch, and sometimes the things that I do really quickly turn out to be better than the things that I take time to do. And the brush strokes that I'm doing go with the lines. So they're not fully vertical, but they're doing this point. So probably like a quarter of the way. I mean, yeah, I think it's about a quarter into the canvas. That's when the point is. That's where the point is. And I'm probably gonna make this point smaller, but it doesn't matter because when we do the C, we can make it in as much as possible, so you can fix it. Okay, so I'm gonna probably do another layer of this once this is dried, but this is sort of how it looks. And I want to do this part because we're gonna add the little people later, so I want it to be dry enough that we can add the colors of the little people. But I was trying to do a little moon, and then I did all these little like crater marks inside of it. Here, I'm actually gonna zoom in to the moon. So that was really, really fun to do. It's a little bit more complicated, I think, but I think you guys can do it. We're gonna try. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna try. We're gonna see if we have time for everything. Okay, so that means that we're gonna need the white. I'm using the titanium white again.
White.
So I would do a good size squirt because we're going to be using, oh, this exploded. We're going to be using it a lot. For the clouds, for the moon, for the waves, and the water. Just in general to lighten colors. I like to have a lot of white usually. White is my most important color, I think. I have a favorite. And then I'm gonna take. So I think I'd like to use more of a rounded brush for these, but I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to find one in this mess. So actually, So I think I'm gonna use this brush.
Oh.
If you don't have one, don't worry. I can show you how to do it both ways. I'm going to start with this brush just because right now I don't need to make clean, straight lines. So since I'm not really doing that, I mean, except for, I guess, for the the outline of the moon. Otherwise, don't really need it. But I think let's start with the clouds. Okay, let's see. So to make a cloud, I like to start with an upper shape of a cloud. So however you interpret that. So then I like to mix it a little bit with the color that we use for the background. So that purpley color, I'm going to do a little bit of purple with a little bit of white. I could say that my clouds are never perfect, but clouds, I don't know, never really what you expect. So then we're going to be able to fix it. So my cloud, okay. Really, my clouds look good when it's messy. They're the little poofy things. And then I like to add a little baby cloud because they're not all big. Sometimes you have a little baby cloud just floating around. So I'm going to zoom into my clouds. And I mean, right now, honestly, I'm not impressed with the way my clouds look, but I can show you a couple pictures. I'm probably going to need that inspiration for myself of clouds I've done before so that you can get an idea of how I just went really messy with these ones. So with this one, it's mostly the color of the sky, and then I added in like just blobs of white. And then with this one, I had like just a lot of paint. I did this in about 10 minutes. And then I had extra paint, and instead of wasting the paint, I just took one of my little canvas and I just gushed the paint over. So if this gives you some idea, you can look at the brush strokes on it. I would say just try to add in the color of the sky that's the background. Don't make it pure white because clouds are pretty thin, pretty see-through. Do what you think will look nice. And then I'm going to do this little cloud everywhere. Just add a little bit of the red. This one. With this one I just am blotching it and it's really thick. So a glob, which is, like I said, if you're not nervous about how much paint you're using, then it's fine, especially for the clouds. Trying to make it a little streaky, clumpy and streaky at the same time. Sometimes it spreads out, so let's do that. Then you can see a little bit of fluffy white. And clouds are so much fun. If you're looking at a cloud and you're like, ugh, then you just take some white and then you just dab it around and it actually starts looking really good. Basically, just make it work. If you think it's looking bad, it's probably not, but just make it work. It's gonna end up looking super cool. So a lot of these clouds are little baby clouds. So making a mama cloud. Then you eventually see that it actually looks better than you thought it did. So don't put yourself down. It's going to look amazing however you make your clouds. Actually, I don't like the first cloud that I made, but like I said, you can just fix it. Paint it. You paint over it. And then inside the cloud, I'm sort of putting like this layer type of look to it. To make it, I guess it shows like some dimension. I don't really know fully why I do it, but clouds just never look, they never really look flat. So I'm going to show you my painting so far. I think I'm going to add a couple more clouds, and then we're going to use our brush and sort of flick some stars on. I didn't make any stars on my original, but I thought about it and I want it. Okay, so I keep on getting directly into the light with my head, but do you guys see it? Okay, I think I'm gonna move this down. Okay, does the lighting look off? I'm gonna try to face this a little more that way. Okay, So I don't know if I want to spend too much time more on the clouds, but I'm going to, you sort of want to take a sky color and some white, so the sky right here is purple, and I don't have enough of this blue on it. So I'm adding the blue that had some of the red from before. This is what my palette looks like now. So this is the brown, the white, the blue, the red, the black, the blue and the red, and then the aqua blue over there. And if you want, you can even hide, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it later, but you might. So you can hide a little cloud behind a mountain. And then if it's a little overlapping the mountain a little bit, then you can just take some black and then go right over it. Having little hidden clouds is cute. My opinion. Okay. Like I said, I like that color, but now I'm going to put in some smushy white. If you want, just take a little dab of white and then sort of outline the cloud with a little stroke. And then move it around, and I don't know if you're able to see the way that I'm moving my hand exactly, but sort of flicking it at the end so it's thinner and then doing thin strokes. So I think I'm done with my clouds for now. I could show you again how it looks. And now, if everyone's ready, we're going to do some stars. Okay, so that's how it looks so far. Okay, so I'm going to actually use the same brush that I used before. No, I'm not. Okay, so if you have a really tiny brush, tiny straight brush, I'm using this one. I'm gonna put a good amount of water on it. All right, so make sure it's like a little bit drippy. And then I'm gonna put it in the white. And then I'm gonna take my fingers like this and a little bit far away and sort of, I don't know how you can guard this area, or you can just paint over it later, or you could go a little bit closer if you're scared. Mine needs to have a little more water. And then you're making stars. Ooh. So I have some stars that are bigger, some stars that are a little bit smaller. Ooh. All right. So I got them everywhere. But I could show you my the little stars. If you want, you could do a little bit of an extra move. And you can take a really tiny brush. Really, really, really tiny. Like, oh my gosh, this one's so cute. Look how tiny this one is. That's my finger in comparison to this little brush. It's so cute. So I'm going to take this brush and wet it. I think I've used this one before. That's why it's hard. Brushes shouldn't be hard. Unless you didn't clean it correctly. So I most likely didn't clean this one correctly. But you can take a little bit of white. Little bitty brush. And you could take a really big star that you have. Let's see if I can get this and move it a little bit closer. And I'm going to use the star right here. You can see it. And then sort of take and wait, it's a little wet, a little too wet. Basically just wipe everything on my apron. Okay. And sort of flick it. Oop, too much water still. I'm going to make it look a little fantasy-like, so flicking out that way. My family having fun. And then I sort of just made this cute little sparkly star. You don't have to. I just thought of this right now. So I did this one really sparkly star. Okay, just for the little spots that I messed up on. Not messed up, but I did. I got too excited with the stars. So a little bit on my mountain. So I'm not gonna do too much. So I'm gonna take the little brush that I was using before for the flicking, for the star flicking. Wait. Oh my gosh! When I have so many brushes, I lose track of them. I'm gonna use this one. Okay, I think it was this one. We're just gonna use this one. So this brush, I just flicked it everywhere. I'm just gonna do some touch-ups, and I would not go too much. So I would just wipe it first to make sure it's dry. All right, so as soon as this mountain's really dry, so I don't want to go too much. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna take my little baby, like the little baby brush, and I'm gonna use the little baby brush to do the touch-ups, because if you do too much, then we're gonna have to wait for it to dry again. I'm just doing just going over the dots, just little. Do not go too much, because then we're not going to be able to do the water, because we need to wait longer for the mountain to dry, because we don't want the black to mix in with the blue. Well, I mean, it's gonna make a navy blue, which isn't terrible, but also isn't great if we're not going for a navy blue. Like I said, you could paint over it later. So if you think that you've way too many stars unintentionally on your mountain, then you can go over the entire thing if you wanted to. Like the little space where your cloud's supposed to be hidden behind the mountain, do that for sure. I'm just doing little touch-ups. And you could do them later, because you may not know where it's going to be showing. So you can even wait if you want until the end, and then we can do the touch-ups once we know. All right. So now that I've done the touch-ups, this big splotch is not very good. So I'm smudging it out. Baruch Hashem, it's only white, so white is definitely something you can work with. And like I said, when I was spreading it out, see, it's already starting to blend in. But now, like I said before, I do want to go into this again, because the brown still needs to cover all of the blue. So I'm going to go over this one more time. And then while this is drying, we're going to paint the waves, the splitting of the sea itself. I think we should do that. Thinking the moon, but thinking we end with, you know, we'll end with the pillar of fire, I think. I don't really know. Let's go with the flow, I guess. And the second coat looks so clean. It looks really nice. Looks so much better than the first, because you can really, you can't even see underneath. So hopefully that's how it's working for you guys, because it should have dried already. If it hasn't dried yet, it's probably going to continue smudging around and showing that blue. Otherwise, really, it should be covering all this up. So, and don't put too much water, else it's going to be too thin. So just put a little bit of water, and then spread it around. Go in the direction that it's pointing to. So this is the one point, and we're going toward that point. So the movements should be going toward the point, or from the point away to one of these 2 points. Okay, I think it's not perfect, but it's still wet, so it will work for now. I really like how this is looking, guys. Really fun choice. I wanted to do something Pesach related to get in the feeling of Pesach, which is why I chose this. So I hope you guys are liking it. All right, for the water. So we want it to be the same color as the water that we've made before. But this is sort of going to be like glowy. I don't know if that's the right word. Because this is sort of background, and then the waves are gonna be more the foreground. So it's basically this part is shaded. So we're gonna be using the same colors. So I'm actually gonna use a different palette just because I've used up so much of the other one. But I'm going to take the blue that I used for the bottom in the first place, and some of the white, which I already poured out a bunch. So the blue, if you guys forgot, I'm using the primary blue, which I use right here. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of other blues, and I'm going to see how that goes. I'm probably just going to start with this in white, but I might just string in a little bit of the cerulean blue and the bright aqua. Because water isn't just one blue. I mean, it depends on what's reflected. And the sky is very colorful, so usually the sky would be reflected into the water. But I really wanted to point out how it's water. So then I wanted to make it really blue. Okay. So the blue, I have the white. I'm going to put in a little bit of this blue. Okay, it has a weird consistency, but probably old. Oh, and I also have the aquamarine. I mean the turquoise. I always say aquamarine. So okay, I'm gonna use a little. I'm gonna put a teensy bit of the bright aqua. I don't think I'm really gonna use that. And then I'm gonna put a little bit. If you're afraid that you're not gonna use something, then you can just add it along when you think that you need it. You don't need to put it all on your palette at once. Okay. So now these brush strokes are a little bit different because we're showing movement. So let me get the right brush. I'm going to be using this brush again. I believe I use this brush for the mountains. If you're wondering, like, let's say you use a certain brush for mountains. If you've been using the same brush the whole time, amazing. Continue. So then I'm going to start with the darker blue that we used at the bottom already. And then the brush strokes are going to start from the tip of the pathway, I guess, the opening, and flick outwards like this. And then you can start going a little bit higher and a little bit higher. Make sure to put a little bit of water on your brush, just in case the paint is not liquidy enough. Ooh, that's fun. Too watery. I could fix that with my other brush that I used for the path. Flicking up, flicking up. And then I sort of did this like downward. Like I guess it sort of shows this is like the end of the cues. This is the last of the cues walking, and most of the cues are up, so it's sort of like it's starting to close in, I guess. I guess is what I unintentionally did in this drawing. So if you want to use this as a reference, you can look on the group chat. If you'd like me to send it again because you can't find it, I could send it again. But this is the image. It's painted on my computer. This is the image. And you can see how far we've come. This is like this is the biggest part. So while the dark blue is still wet, I would take some of the lighter blue or some of the white and just get that in there. It's gonna look really funky. Get it, like I said, streaky to look more natural, not like all blended in, to make it a solid color. And then don't be afraid. When you go to the end, keep going. Don't stop because you see that it stops. Okay, I'm putting in the white now. You can see how it looks like a light blue, sort of. Like that. And then we're going to use white to show the water too. But this is just the white inside of the blue, inside the wave. And I'm going to close my path in a little bit more to show it's a little bit smaller and further away perspective. I sort of made it a little too big and I don't like it. Like I said, you don't need to listen to me. It's all up to your imagination. Make it suitable for yourself. I'm using dark blue, the white. I'm mixing in some other blues, seeing if I like it. I'm mostly enjoying just having the white in with the dark blue. I think I like that best. That's why I'm trying different things out. And then we're gonna end up fixing it. And try to do those outward brush strokes, like the splashing or just the movement. And go like this. It's not gonna stay this way. I'll take a little bit of water. And then I'm adding in a little bit of the bright aqua. So you can see how these waves are, they're a little bit brighter than the regular water, which is totally, no, don't go there. Don't. Sorry. It's a little bit brighter than the water itself, which is totally fine. Also, we're going to go in and we're going to add more dark, and we're also going to go in and add more streak and add more wave. I don't really know how long this was going to take, but I think this is good. So you know what? I'm seeing a glare, so I'm not seeing everything. Okay, I think it's looking nice. Okay, and then I would say as the waves go down, make it bigger. The closer it is to you, like in terms of perspective, the farther they are away, the smaller they're gonna be. The closer they are, the larger they'll be. So I would say try to keep that with your waves, but don't stress about it. Don't stress about any of it, but waves are just will do what they do. So okay, I'm actually gonna fix my waves here because I don't like how big they are. They're way too big. So I'm gonna add some black here, and then I'm gonna fix the waves more, but I'm probably gonna have to wait a minute for it to dry. All right, so we're gonna add in, like I said, add in a little more of the dark blue. Just with dark blue. Okay. So it should look a little bit splashy. A little bit. You be careful here because the black's gonna get into my waves. Okay. Sort of took a risk there because definitely black is gonna end up in my waves, but I also don't want to take forever waiting for things to dry. I am slightly impatient. By slightly, I'm pretty impatient. Especially when it comes to art. And when I have to wait for my oil paintings to dry, it's so painful. And then I'll try to paint over it when it's still wet because I don't have the patience. And then all of a sudden, the painting's smudged and ruined because Hashem teaches us to have patience.
It's very cool. I'm not even an artist. My water is splashing.
Nice! See, Baruch Hashem. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear it. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is, I don't want to take too much longer on this, but I'm going to take the same brush, which sort of has some blue on it. Wait, actually, I'm going to put a little more dark. Oh my gosh, I know I said I'm done, but I realize I just want to have a little more dark so that it blends in with the water behind it, because the water behind it is very, very dark. I'm going to take there. And then we're gonna use the white And the white is going to be a lot of the splashing. A lot of the splashing. And I'm glad if you can see movements, if you can already see that it's like, oh my gosh, it's splashing, then that makes me happy. That makes me so happy. Okay. All right. Good job so far, guys. We're almost there. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so done, no pressure. You can always go back to it another day. Sometimes it just takes that if you're a little bit too exhausted or you're like, I really hate this. It's so ugly. Then you may have to just come back to it another day and then you're like, oh, it's actually much better than I thought it was when I was painting it. So, don't let it put you down. Okay, so taking the same brush. Sorry, I'm starting to squeeze some of the water out because these brushes really get the water. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white and I'm dabbing it on, and I'm going to do a little splash. So it sort of has, that was a big one, but I'm really just dabbing it across. And then you could give it like a little bit more movement. You could move it around. You could add it in. You could even use your finger if you'd like. And that looks really cool too. I use my fingers a lot in my painting. Like when I was showing you the flicking, mostly just if I'm like, oh, this brush isn't doing what I want it to do, and then I just use my finger and then I feel like it works better. We're actually staring at it this way, so we're seeing less of this, so it's going to be not as long. I mean, shorter breaks, I think. Okay, so I'm going to use a little more white to the side. And then do it at the top, do it in the middle. Show that it's splashing. I mean, you should already, I mean, not should, but you could probably already see it splashing, like Seema said, which is amazing. And then this sort of adds that extra. I don't know. Or you don't have to do it at all. I don't know. Whatever you'd like. Pretty sure it'll look cool either way. If you think it looks really nice without this, the white, then don't do it if it'll make you uncomfortable and you feel like you're going to mess things up. But then also don't feel like you're going to mess things up because you can always fix it. Or it probably looks cool, a little messed up. And then you can sort of go with like the roundedness of the wave itself and just blotch it up. Blotch it up. Actually, this one I don't like. But watch it. If it started to become a little bit too blue, that's good. It means that the blue is a little bit wet still, which we want because we want to be able to blend if you have to. Is just add a little more white onto your brush. Go. Okay, I think, yeah. I need to sometimes take a step back from my paintings and see if it actually looks good or if I'm just too close and I thought it looked good. So I'm going to take a step back. Some colors from the sky. Then I'm going to, this is not going to, okay, we're going to see if this is going to be a good idea or a really bad idea. But you can take your brush. I'm going to start doing this now. See if you actually like it first and then do it. But I would take some of the red that you were using for the sky, and then maybe put it on your finger, actually. And then I would put hints of it. Like you're hinting that the sky is still part of the picture, but it's not too much. Maybe like that. It's not too much that it's like the water's red, but the Red Sea though. Bad joke. So then I'm putting some of the red from the sky, and I placed it underneath some of the wave choice and some of the white. So probably wasn't the best idea I had, but I could also do some glances of like this. Like it's a little bit of. You know what? Later I might just be like, oh, that was really bad, and then paint over this entire thing. But this is a subtle nod to the sky. Subtle hint that the sky is still there. Okay. And then I'm taking the red and the blue and I'm mixing to make that same purple that I did for the sky. Although I'm going to put a little white in it to make it more purpley. And then I'm just doing a little purple above. A little purple. And you place it wherever you feel like it would reflect. So if you were looking at a sky and looking at water, where exactly would that water reflect, or the sky reflect onto the water? Like I said, it's totally up to you. And if it's a little bit more dry, then you'll get a little less color, a little bit, which is nice. So I don't know if I wanted to do that, but I already did it. So if you did it with me, awesome. That was a big leap of faith because I didn't even know if that was going to look good. I think it still looks cool just because it's not something that water always looks the same way all the time, because it really doesn't. Water is fluid. So however you're doing your water, it's very plausible the water looks like that. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to get into it too much. Okay, so now, if you want to make your waves a little bit bigger, a little more showy, go for it. Go for it, please do. Let me know if you need some extra time for that. I'm going to do really quickly is, I think this looked cool before. I don't know if it looks cool, but I'm going to take some white and sort of do some little reflection streaks on top of the mountains, not just so that you can tell the difference, like not so you can just see the separation between them, but because I think that would be nice to also see a reflection of the sky in the mountain. So I'm actually taking the purple and taking the white, mixing it together, making it a light purple, and I'm doing some subtle streaks. So, because I think that, mountains can still reflect light. And also, could be that it's my own artistic license that I'm going, yeah, it does that. I don't really know. But if you also think that looks pretty interesting, you can put some detail into that. Right. I'm also taking a little bit of a lighter purple than I used before. And I'm doing even less streaks than I did before, but spacing them out. I don't know if you're watching how I'm doing this, but spacing them out a little more than I did before. Alright, I don't know how that looks. Actually, I don't think I love it. But if I blend it, I think it looked better when it was just a silhouette. We could paint over it afterwards. Alright, so should we do the moon next, or should we do the pillar of fire? Probably the moon, because the sky was drying, and now the splitting of the sea is drying. The splitting sea. And I'm gonna go over another really quickly with the ground, because I still see some blue in there, and I do not want to see that blue. Even if the blue could be technically a reflection from the water, I don't want to see it. It has no business being here. Okay. There we go. Okay, now that I fixed that, I'm going to use my rounded brush again, if I can find it. Okay, there it is. And I think I want to do the moon in front of a cloud and then behind the cloud. Like, and to give it a little more dimension. So probably in front of this cloud and behind this cloud. Like right here. Is that a good plan? Okay, yeah. No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go for it. I'm actually gonna take a picture. I usually take pictures of my progress of paintings. I mean, I have this whole video to show progress, but Rivka, your iPhone? Hi.
Hi. I don't know what I am, but hi.
I'm like, okay, I know someone's doing the custom and I go, I don't know if Rivka's in this class. I see Seema's name, I see Dana's name, and Rivka. So I know other people were supposed to be in the class, but thank you guys for being in the class. Rivka, I can't believe like an hour and a half in, I realized that's you. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna take a quick picture just because I usually do that, especially when in art school, it's just good to have it. And when you're doing artwork and you want to sell it, then you also need to calculate how much time it took. So then you could help yourself tell how much time because you're not keeping track the entire time. I'm gonna go. Oh my gosh, I'm so eyeballing it. Okay. So I'm gonna go and make it a smaller moon, and if I need to make it bigger, I'll make it bigger, but I don't want to risk it. Okay, so I'm putting it behind this cloud and in front of this cloud. So it's going to be covering this cloud, but this cloud is going to be in front of the moon, and then I'm making it a solid white. Okay. And then we could also make the cloud so that it looks, whatever. After we do the pillar of fire, I think we should work on this cloud so that it looks like it's actually in front rather than the moon is just cut off. But it'll look good either way. Now the moon definitely is reflective of the sky and of the sea. Of the sea? I don't know. Moon helps create waves, so I could just be making this up. Okay, I'm just gonna make it, in my point of view, it's reflective of the sky that's around it and the sea that's below it. So I think while it's still wet, I'm going to take a little bit of the blue that we used for the sea. So whatever blues you use, if you used all of them, whatever you can use. And then just do a little streak. And then blotch it around. Don't make it look perfect. Don't make it look like a line. Make it look... I'm going to zoom into that color. So it sort of looks a little reflective. Reflective. Using the same words a lot. Probably because it's only... the art vocabulary is the art vocabulary I know. The vocabulary that I know best. Excuse me. Alright, so then we're going to make that purple again. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're going to make that... You know what? No. We're going to use the red. And the red would be for the top, so... try to do a little bit of... and then do a little more of the red that you're doing of the blue. And it might turn... mine's turning a little bit purpley because I had a little bit of blue on my brush. It doesn't mind. It's not bad if it does because the sky is also purpley. So try to do that a little bit more. So I'm going to zoom in and show you. So while the white is still wet, this is a really good time to be doing this because then it doesn't look like a solid red or a solid pink or solid blue. Like it's just... and you could use your finger like I do. Always use my finger like I said. Going around. Okay. Alright, now, what I'll do is I'm going to take, oh, you know what, same red, now we're going to do more solid, but we're going to do indents like the craters, like, so, the red that I'm using is the same primary red and the same primary blue. I don't know why I keep on forgetting the names of them, they're just primary. And then the primary colors, so I should remember the name. Okay. So mostly what I'll be using the other colors for is when I'm going to be doing the dots of the people, but in honesty, you can use whatever colors, the same color, and then I'll go more into detail later. I probably shouldn't go into more detail right now. And then I think I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to use the same roundy brush, not flat and straight, the same one. This is what I've been using for the moon. So I'm going to take, still wet, the red, and I'm going to go in some dot. And don't be scared. If some of the dots blend into each other, you know what? That's a look. That's what I'm doing. Okay. And then also, I'm going to take I'm going to blue and the red together, make some little purpley craters. So, I mean, it should probably stay similar in color, but do what you want. So I'm just literally making it look like make it look rounded. If you look at my original drawing that I did on my iPad, then you could probably see how I did the craters better than how I'm doing them right now. And then make some of them lighter, so they don't all just look the same color and the same length. Try to make them vary in color, vary in length, vary in, like size. And put some little random dots in the middle that people will be able to see. Actually, I'm probably going to blend that out. Didn't like it. But you know. And then I'm going to take the blue. So I'm going to rinse that off. And then I'm going to do the blue little craters at the bottom. So the way that I did the original drawing is probably cooler, but I didn't do that way. So, you know what? Going off-roading. I don't know. What's the right phrase for that? Alright, so I'm going to show you what my moon looks like. If you don't like it, don't do it. This is what it looks like. And then I'm actually going to take some... What am I going to do? I'm going to take some of the white and then mix it even more white in with even more of the color and then do more craters, but only on the sides of them. Maybe keep some space open that's just completely white, like it's been completely reflected on. I don't know. That's just an artistic choice. You don't have to. Okay, so try to keep them close together. Okay. I don't want to do too many because then it will look like too many. Oh, dang it. I'm sort of ruining my picture now. Like I said, just have fun with it. However you feel like your moon should look. Your moon should look like that. So, your special moon. We don't know what the moon looked like when they were splitting the sea, when Hashem split the sea for the Jews, so. Alright, so I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna use my thinner brush, my baby brush, and I am going to do more white, and just do some, just to make the outline look crisp. Or you could do it a little bit bumpy, so you could like see the craters in the outline, which is cool. I don't know. I don't know. I keep saying I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna stop with my moon, especially since the moon is sort of off in one corner, which I'm going to fix. So let's see. I'm just gonna take some of this dark sky color and then just make it. Too much. Okay. And then this cloud, oh, like I said, I wanted to make it look like it was actually in front. So do what you think will make it look like it's really in front. God, I think it looks good. I hope yours is looking really nice too. Okay, now we're gonna do the pillar of fire. So for fire, I'm using orange, red, blue, and yellow. And you could do that however you like. The way that I was swirling the colors here, I just kept on swirling and swirling until it looked cool. So, I mean, also this isn't actual blending when it, with a paintbrush. There's still blending on the app that I have, but it obviously isn't the same. So we're going to use probably the same brush that you use for the moon. If you had the roundy brush that you're using, round brush. And then okay, like I said, I don't even know I didn't pour out the colors like I said I was using, but okay, you probably have out your red already. You probably have out your blue out already, and then you just need, and you can make your own orange if you have enough yellow. I don't even think I don't even think I have any yellow at all. Oh yeah, I could scoop it out. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna start making the shape, and then I wanted to make the pillar of fire really big, just to show like Hashem was guiding them through the night with the pillar of fire, right? So I wanted to show them like this was how they were guided. It's very clear that that's Hashem. So make it as bold and crazy as you want it to look. Then I just try to use the colors of fire, so that's why I chose those specific colors. But you can choose whatever colors you want that you think will look like fire. If you just think yellow and red will do it, and it looks cool. I didn't make it look cool, but you can probably make it look cool. And if you blend the blue too much, obviously the blue and the red are gonna make a type of green. So try not to blend too much and more just like take a streak. And I'm doing rounded brush strokes so that it's trying to get the feel, the shape of a pillar of fire. I may have been influenced by the movie Prince of Egypt. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. It's really gooky. So the one that I'm using now, the orange color that I'm using is cadmium orange hue, and what did I say was using? White, regular, red, blue, yellow, and then this yellow is cadmium also. And then Seema will be able to read that. It says
artistic color. Oh, jaune.
Okay, I was like, I can read artistic color.
Hello.
I'm not completely illiterate. I love that. Jaune sounds very pretty.
Jaune.
When you say it in French, it sounds like a prettier color than just yellow. So I appreciate that. Okay, and then this yellow. Ooh, this is a strong yellow. So I'm gonna go everywhere with this. Maybe that once this dries, then you could just keep on adding more color, and it'll probably look better the more you add to it. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow, add a little bit of the red, and then you're sort of using up whatever color you've got left. I think. I'm gonna add in the blue. I didn't even use this blue in this fire. Okay. Adding a little bit of blue into here. A little bit of blue. A little bit of orange. I think how much orange left. A little bit of red. Okay. Then that reflection is sort of going to be like this faded mush of colors, but you can tell that it's a reflection into the water. And then I'm going to add some white by it, so you can tell that it's still the water. All right, now, my gosh, so exciting! We're actually at the end. We're gonna do the people. So the way that I initially did the people and how I was thinking of doing it was by using either a little tiny brush like I have, or if you don't have one, no big deal. You can just use the end of your brush. So that is to make the smaller dots that are at the tip. What you do is you take a little bit of paint. So you can use whatever color you want. If you want, you can use just black, and then you put a little bit at the tip, and then you dot it. You dot, you dot, you dot, you dot. And then as the closer they get to this pillar of fire, the smaller that they become. So I'm gonna use this little brush. And then if you have a brush that points at the end, like the one that I was using for the moon, yes, hello. Then you can use the tip of that really lightly by making the people. And what I'm doing is I'm making little lines for people, like little people bodies. And then we're gonna do little heads. I don't know how much longer that's gonna take. If you want, you could just keep the little bodies. The little bodies don't always need little heads.
Oh yeah, I can screenshot.
Okay, awesome. And if you want, I could send you pictures, and I'm also recording it, like video recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So please Hashem, I hope that turned out well. I was practicing it so I could do it for my other class yesterday, but then I forgot. Because I just forgot. Okay, so I'm spreading out the colors because I'm going to do colorful people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's little people bodies. And then you can start making the dots. Like I made these black, but I don't really like it. And then as they get closer, get tinier and tinier. And as they get further back, get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and then I'm spreading them out because I don't want them all to be the same color. So I'm going blue. And there were a lot of Jewish people, so however many you want to put. And then you can make their bodies smaller as you get up. Little yellow bodies. And then I'm using some of the extra red that I have left over. Not really extra, I have like barely any. Making the people a little too big, but you know. No, you know what? It's probably fine. Just make sure that as you go up, they're becoming smaller and smaller. Not bigger, because then it'll lose perspective. It'll not lose actual perspective. But not the same, but it'll be hard to tell. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's looking super cool. Now so you can mix colors to make more colors. I'm mixing the aqua blue and the green, and then it made another green. So I love green, and it's really pretty. I do have a light green and dark green, but I just made a green. Okay. Honestly, if you want, you guys can stay with me and finish it up here, or if you guys are done right now, because you can make as many people as you'd like. Then
That's all what's left, just the people?
so the people and then your signature. So then you do your signature.
That's very important.
And I think, yeah, this is all that's left. Is there something missing? Did I miss something? Maybe. I feel like there's more, but there probably isn't more. I don't